The following program was made possible in part by grants from the Wisconsin Humanities Committee, with funds provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Central Educational Network, with assistance from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and by the Otto Bremer Foundation.
Ni we ween the moon, gay the city gay young, gay the young he ill, Mishka wizin, the mothers a win. On Turtle Island at a place called Waswaganing, or Lac de Flambeau, Lake of Flaming Torches, is where our people lived many years before contact with Europeans. It is a land of forest and lakes. We respected the spirits of all living things and survived with them from generation to generation, from season to season. To survive in a somewhat dangerous environment, we had to know a lot and be ready for all the forces that were in motion around us. Survival was only possible if we were able to adapt to changes in the climate and the environment according to the seasons and create new solutions to ever-changing situations. We moved over the face of the land and waters in the season's circle to hunt and gather all that we needed. In the spring, the whole family helped with spearing and the maple sugar harvest. In the summer, birch bark and powwow and wild rice. In the fall, hunting, trapping, and sowing. In the winter, ice fishing, roundhouse, and crafts. We respected our elders, and they taught our children the old ways. We only took what we needed, used all of it, and shared with others in the community. We offered tobacco as thanks for all that we received on this Mother Earth. A big change came when we began to trade with the Europeans. They gave us their cloth, tools, weapons, and alcohol in exchange for our furs. We concentrated our energy on trapping, thereby shifting the age-old seasonal balance and changing our relationship to our animal brothers. But Europeans were not only satisfied with furs. As more white people came, they wanted and took the land and the trees. To get our most desirable lands, the Europeans wrote treaties that set aside small tracts of land. Living in permanent villages changed us. We became increasingly dependent on European goods. Because they did not understand our culture and religion, white people decided that we needed to be made into Europeans. As a child, I was taken from my family and put in a government boarding school. We were forced to stay there from ages 6 to 16. We were not allowed to speak our Ojibwe language or worship the Great Spirit as we knew him. The schools were like jails. We were forced to learn about the white man's God and the white man's language, and how to farm and grow food. But the poor soil and severe climate made farming in the area unprofitable. Logging, however, did provide some temporary profit, but just for the loggers. Most of the virgin pine was cut down by the logging companies that had as little regard for Indian rights as they did for the forests they were destroying. In less than 30 years, most reservation land had been passed over to non-Indian ownership, and all the trees were gone. This abuse of the forests further disrupted our ability to rely on the land for our survival. Railroads that carried out the trees carried in curious tourists who were eager to see wild Indians and were willing to pay to see Indian dances. Tourism thrived on stereotyped images that persist even today. Walking with our feet in two worlds has been a difficult but necessary adaptation for survival. Today, individuals and the tribe are operating a number of modern businesses. Tribally owned industries include Simpson Electric Company, the tribal fish hatchery, bingo, and others. Individual tribal members own businesses such as a printing company, a logging business, and others. We have a choice about how we wish to mix our old ways of survival with these new ways.
Though times have changed over the years, our roots are still here. Some of our traditional ways have changed, but we still base most of our cultural ways on those. We cannot forget them.
Through the years, families have maintained their connection to hunting and gathering. Traditional beliefs endure in our old and new ways of life. It is now Nibing, which is spring. The lights of spring spearing are still dancing in the dark.
Like the Flambeau means Lake of Flaming Torches, which is the name given to the reservation by the first explorers that came through here when they saw the spring spearing. Well, I've been spearing more than 50 years, and we speared in a canoe with a torch. We use an electric light on our heads, and we use an outboard motor instead of paddles. The Indian has traditionally been able to adapt to whatever method makes it more easier for him to get his food. We, as Indian people, are always conservation-minded in regard to the resources, and one of the ways we practice conservation, especially in fishing, was never to take more than we needed. It's a traditional time when it's easier to get the fish. They're more accessible this way. When they get them for food and feed, especially I'm getting here, will be a lot of people. I give it to a lot of people. Aunts, cousins. My sister, she comes and I give her a bunch of fish and keep her so she has fish for her family. It's a big food source for us. We don't have to go in the store and buy fish sticks. Or pay $4 or $5 a pound for these. Fresh out of the water, your filleted walleyes. A lot of people are eating fish today. But this is the time of the year for it. I use the resource for food and also in my fishing guide. I thank the Great Spirit for allowing me to do this.
It is now Zegal, which is summer. Besides the Bear River powwow, it is the time for gathering birch bark.
My name is Jerry Mollison. My Indian name is Bidoniquit. I'm currently the Flambeau tribal planner. I own my own business, a pizza business in the town of Flambeau. When I go into the woods, I feel real good. In my free time, basically, I have been involved in doing birch bark basketry. I thank Great Spirit that we're able to get the bark, which is anywhere from June to July, the best time to peel the outer bark. Seems like when there's a lot of rain and a lot of heat, the bark pops right off the tree. A lot of people think that when you take the outer layer out, you're going to kill the tree. That's not so. When you take the top layer off of the birch bark, there's another layer. It'll turn black. For the lacing of my baskets, I use weegoop. The English name for it is it's basswood fiber. Wood itself is sometimes used for carving decoys and other things. First, you gotta peel it off the tree. You take the bark itself, and then you roll it. Then you take it and put it in water for at least 1 to 2 weeks. The basket I'm making is basically a sugar basket, and it's shaped for a lot of storage. I think each time I do a basket, I remember my grandmother, the way she used to use her macouse or her awl when she was putting the basket together, and the sound of the basket and the cutting of the birch bark. I think a lot of those memories come back when I do basketry. Something about it, there's a serenity about working with Mother Nature and making something beautiful out of it. I like to teach young people the traditional crafts. If people don't take a look at Mother Nature a lot more closer than they're looking at it right now, I think there's going to be a catastrophe. I think it's very important. Otherwise, we're not only going to lose traditional crafts, but we're going to lose people and cultures. We're not going to survive.
Respected Elder Dave Careful works for the Flambeau Water and Sewer Department. He also likes to dance in these traditional Bear River powwows. Getting ready is a change from the regular clothes to his traditional dance outfit. The outfits are colorful and are handmade, if not by the dancer, then by a member of his family, or he may have received an article of his outfit as a gift. As family members prepare for the powwow, grandson Wombly warms up before the grand entry. The people are renewing old friendships, making new friends, sharing songs and dances, which create a sense of unity and identity.
There is always a feeling of oneness at these powwow dances. You know that these are your people and your culture, and you just feel good about it. There always is and always will be a spiritual importance to a powwow. The fact that the dancing area is in a circle means a lot. It symbolizes the way life is. It starts and it ends and it just keeps on. There is no end.
And there's a spiritual power within the sound of that drum, and combined with the energies and the thoughts of the people that sit around there, and then combined with the people that dance around there. It's really a powerful force, a powerful energy.
The Bear River Powwow is a time for social gathering when all the families come together to sing and dance. Everyone participates in cooking the food and sharing the food. Though some of the ways have changed, it still holds a lot of meaning for us.
The snake dance has many interpretations. One is that the dance represents man's journey through life and his passage into the spirit world. The first part is winding through life, with life's many ups and downs. The second part, the shedding of the skin, represents man's shedding of his negative ways of life for a new positive way. The third part, coiling up, represents hibernation, or giving up his physical, material existence. The fourth part, his very new existence in the spirit world, involves man's spirit attempting to gain entrance into the next world by crossing completely over the river of life. He tries 3 times, and the 4th time gains entrance by jumping over the river of life into the spirit world. The 5th part, after gaining entrance into the spirit world, he meets all those that have crossed into the spirit world before him. There is a great circle formed, and all celebrate his new life. The annual Bear River Powwow is a coming together of our people in unity and harmony.
Out here is the Bear River, and you will see the wild rice starting.
Well, it's the time for wild rice called Monoman in Ojibwe. We get out there in the morning. It's real beautiful. We give thanks to the Great Spirit. We offer a sema, tobacco, and put this in the water for what rice we take. That goes along with the prayer. And we only take just as much as we need. When we do the ricing and we knock it into the boat, it's a delicate process of knocking the rice. It's a good feeling with the sun, the winds touching you, and rebuilding your strength. You can't learn these from a book. You got to get right out there and do it. You got to feel it. It's in you. It's part of our survival. And it's sad when you see it getting polluted, the water. It just kind of worries you. Some of the rice will fall back into the water, which is okay, because it reseeds the rice for next year.
Real good feeling when you're out racing. You kind of drift off into a daydream, like wondering if this feeling that I had that feels so right is what my forefathers felt, and if it's the same feeling they had that I'm having right now. Wild rice, to me, is a very important thing. The thrasher and the guy pulling can actually get into a rhythm. Everything meshes together. There's harmony. That's a good feeling. After our canoe is full, we have to dry the wild rice out real thoroughly and spread it out on the ground.
The next process of the rice is parching the rice. We parch the rice to make the husk brittle, so when we dance on the rice, the husk comes off easy. This process of making rice this way has been done in our family for years, as long as I can remember. Once it's parched, the next step is dancing on the rice. We dance on the rice to take the husk off. It's usually done with a lighter person, so you don't break the rice up. All my life I've been taught to gather things from the woods and the lakes, feed my family. My father taught me that, his father taught him that, and so on. Once that is done, we fan the rice, and that blows the husk away.
Well, we use machines now because it is more productive. They're all handmade. We're just fitting in, going with the times, using modern stuff as it comes along. If somebody comes up with a better idea, we'll probably use that. We're always looking for a new system, new ways of doing it.
I like to go racing. It gives me a good feeling, and by using this rice and sharing it on special occasions, I'm very thankful, very grateful.
It is now Dagwagi, which is fall. It is the time for sowing, deer hunting, and trapping.
About 6:30 in the morning, get up. I get a bunch of my brothers or whoever wants to go out hunting with me, meet at one place, and we usually try to pick a good place out where you see a lot of deer around, good oak, ridges, open fields. The deer come out in the mornings. I like getting out in the woods, tracking deer, still hunting. When you're walking through the woods, you can hear deer. They snort, bucks will snort. You can hear them running. I cover a lot of miles. I never take a compass out there. I never look back. It's a big part of hunting is being patient. You just got to be alert. If you hit the deer, the tail drops right away. That's a sign that the deer is hurt. And so you get on this track where you shot him, you find blood around. You do the best we can to find them. There's very few times that a deer will get away from us. Most of the time we always got them. Takes a while, but we get them. I've been teaching my boys how to hunt and survive in the woods, how to read signs, how to eat berries, and you can live quite a while like that. Live off the land, and a lot of people don't no more. I don't look at hunting as a sport. My own mind, it's survival. Every family's got hunters. Everybody's proud of their hunters. They cut down the front legs, down the back legs, all the way up to the jawbone. I got a pretty big family now, and so I gotta get a nice bunch of deer meat to last winter. I eat deer meat about maybe 3 or 4 times a week. If my kids didn't eat venison as much as they do, they probably wouldn't hunt as much as they do. There's no waste. We all get together and skin it out, cut it up, bone it. When you start tearing the hide down, you pull it down, wrap the hair over the hide, you start pulling, get a good grip, and pull down. You quarter it. You got hindquarters, ribs, you get tenderloins, 2 front shoulders, 1 neck. Everybody gets an equal share of the deer. I give thanks, but it's more private, more my own way. Whenever I got my aunts or uncles or my relation come around and they always, for a cookout, I always donate deer meat or give them deer meat. The deer hide you can make buckskin out of. That's the way of the Indian people is hunting.
This is something that I enjoy. I enjoy very much my sewing. I make things, you know, with a sewing machine now, where there was a lot of handwork done. That's much easier. We've modernized traditional clothing that the older people used to wear. Well, the things that I make, that I sew, that's my way to carry on our traditions, encouraging people to wear some of the garments that I make, and also learning to making them themselves. If we don't teach, how are they going to learn? If we don't give them some interest to do it themselves, instead of saying, make me a shirt, I'd rather be showing them how to make one. It was something that I enjoyed teaching the little ones and the older children too. I had taught from first grade through the 12th grade, boys and girls. They made their own vests and made their own designs, cut them out. I taught my daughter at the age of 11. She started sewing. I sew in the morning, in the evening, during the day. I enjoy very much my sewing.
In the fall, Buddy and Albany and myself, we will start at the Bear River and do our trapping. I would consider Buddy Wayman an expert in trapping. It's kind of like takes us up in stages, doesn't show us everything all at once. He'll show us a little, then we have to do it ourselves. And then when he feels we're ready, he'll show us the next steps. And we can trap a lot of areas on a reservation, but there's kind of like a special feeling downriver that we all share, and it's kind of very special to us.
You just got to be down the river, travel down the river to feel it.
That's important to me because that's where I trapped mostly in my life. Been there for years. Trapped in that river almost 40-some years.
The beavers we trap, we love all the animals, and we don't like to see any of the animals suffer. So the steel traps they have nowadays are very effective, very little suffering. So we're glad for that. We never trap all the beaver because we need to leave the seed. We don't believe in taking everything. Well, I'm sure a lot of people feel trappers are somewhat cruel men, but the fact is we love these animals. We love this land. After we trap an animal, that isn't the end of the story. We pay this animal great respect. Today has been a pretty good day for us trapping, and we
try to do everything the traditional way. We use tobacco a lot in our trapping. Mainly, we give thanks for anything we get. And whether we get a beaver or not, we still use our tobacco. Albany is smoking cigarette. Smoke represents our prayers, and just a general thank you for being alive and being able to get out here. And it's not just for the beaver, it's just everything. Just giving thanks. Trapping really gives me opportunity to get out and really just enjoy the outdoors. It's what trappers love. When we get back to the house, we usually just have a lot of fun talking and sharing, and I guess one of the biggest rewards is the friendships we've developed over a period of years. After we get a beaver or so, we take it back and we take the hide off. We're very careful to not put holes in it. We skin it very carefully.
I never skinned beaver in a hurry. I take my time.
Well, me and Albany just got hired on with the fish and game, and at the time there was a lot of beaver problems. So someone had to try to control the beaver and trapping. So that's why we called on Buddy there. At the time, we didn't really know much about trapping beavers, and so we recruited Buddy, and he's been teaching us for the last 2.5 years, showing us the ways, but he says we got another 10 years to go and we might make it. After we skin it, we take the fur and we'll stretch it out on a board, trying to make it as round as possible. After we stretched out perfectly round, or as close as we can get, and then we'll take most of the fat and the meat so the hide doesn't spoil. And then it will dry. This is probably the part I enjoy the most, is taking the meat to an old person that's already cut up. We use every part of the beaver. Nothing's ever thrown away. There's no waste of any resource or anything. Anything we take, we give thanks for and use it all. Hopefully we can pass this on to our children and everything. Trapper's a special guy.
It is now Baboon, which is winter. It is time for roundhouse dancing, ice spearing, beadwork, and weaving.
During the winter months, families and friends gather at the roundhouse to share song, food, and to dance. The roundhouse is built in the traditional circle manner. It also has an earth floor and is heated with a barrel stove and wood. It is a place for our youth to learn traditional customs, values, and principles from our elders. Whenever I enter the roundhouse, I always feel a good sense of pride and a sense of oneness and friendship.
And as we go in, we say hello to the elders first, and we say hello to everyone else and welcome everyone like they welcome us. We get a good feeling from that. And the reason that I take the children to the roundhouse on Thursdays, so they will learn their culture as they grow. We explain to them why the building is round, because our belief is everything is round, everything is in a circle, and everything we do is spiritually in a circle.
First of all, we passed tobacco around to give thanks. After that, we had a prayer.
We have the elders eat first, our visitors, if we have visitors. and the elders, and the adults, and the children last.
Everyone brings a dish. We all share in the food. There's always enough to go around. When I haven't been to the roundhouse, when I have been away for a while, and when I go back to listen to the songs, and I feel very good about it, and I feel so good about it that I get a big lump in my throat because it reminds me of my childhood and when I used to sit in this very spot where I'm sitting now and can see the elders dancing around and singing. Some of the songs have changed, but not too many.
Generally, dancers are circling around a drum, and the drum sound represents the heartbeat of our Mother Earth.
In the winter, when we have snow, it's the only place here that we have the earth showing. It's a beautiful feeling dancing at the roundhouse.
The roundhouse is a place to come and socialize. It's a place to just meet your friends and to sing and dance.
The roundhouse gathering usually starts when we're ready and ends when we're done.
Someday, you know, our grandchildren will pass it on to their children. It's continuous.
Most generally, I fish in the wintertime. It's a time for me. I fish for food. I spear muskies through the ice. I make my own decoys. 90% of my decoys are made out of basswood. For me, it takes a long time to make a decoy. Make sure it has the right turn on the tail, and make sure it's weighted properly, and the fins are the right size, and make sure that it's colored right, painted or otherwise. So it takes me a long time, because I want that decoy to attract fish. I can make a decoy, I should say, but I won't make a decoy in a hurry. Big fish, they eat little fish. They think this is something to eat, you think you're a decoy. I like to teach people, whether they're children or adults. I like to teach them if they want to learn. Some of the things that I use here, but you know, we're Indian people, and this is what we've always done. It's a traditional way to get food, because that's when we get fish to eat. You pull it like this, and it goes around. You forget how to do this, you see. So you gotta keep it alive. Because it's a tradition with us. That's the way we do it. I was taught by my father how to spear. What I haven't been taught, I learned myself by sitting there and trying to analyze what happened. Why did it happen? Why was I able to get a muskie right here in this particular spot where 15 feet away I couldn't get a muskie? Why? You know, I've been spearing a long time, maybe 50 years. It's hard. It isn't easy. It does teach you respect. I respect the fish because I realize they are intelligent. I thank the Great Spirit to allow me to take the fish. You got to know how to make that. What do I need to go spearing? Well, he said, I need decoys, I need a spear, I need blankets, I'm going to make my teepee, I need canvas. I got to get all that thing, you see, all of that. It's all individual. They don't even make the same kind of teepee. They're all different teepees. You see, if you get fish, that's what it's about, you know. You have to go get your bows. Bows are used to protect your equipment from getting wet, and not only that, but they darken the area around the hole, so the fish are less likely to see above. When I look for bows, I'll go find spruce. Probably the best is blue spruce. When you chop a hole knife, you look at it, it looks black. You can't see anything. But if you cover that hole and look down in it, it's just like a window into another world. You can see everything down there. See the weeds, see the bottom, see other little fish swimming around. And I say, how can you sit there for hours and hours jigging a decoy and never see a fish? One thing that spearing through the ice does is it teaches you patience. I got a lot of respect for those fish. Huge fish. The only way they get big like that is because they're smart. If they're dumb, I eat them then if they're dumb. So I don't take every fish I see, I don't spear them all. And the bigger the mosquito, the faster they are. That is their intent, is to lure them in within range of a handheld spear. Maybe someday this is all going to be gone. Maybe it'll be a thing of the past. And maybe we won't be able to do it anymore for some reason. Everything you have comes from others. Everything. And you've got to protect that source. Because if you don't, you're not going to survive as a people. Should do this. Then that way you can keep this alive.
I enjoy doing finger weaving in the wintertime, especially as the bright colors of the yarn bring a little joy to my day. With finger weaving, there are 3 basic patterns: the chevron, the lightning, and the arrowhead. You need a lot of patience when you're doing finger weaving. I usually make sashes because I get an idea for colors to combine, and then I'll make a sash. If it turns out good, I might give it away. I enjoy mixing the colors and get ideas for colors from a sunset or from the woods or flowers or just anything. I've taught quite a few people how to do finger weaving. I don't know too many people who finger weave, but there has been a revival of interest within the last few years. I enjoy doing finger weaving in the wintertime.
We do most of our beadwork in the winter months, and we enjoy getting together.
My granddaughter, when she was about 7, 8 years old, she come up to me and she said, "Grandma, can I dance? Will you make me a dress?" "Sure, if you dance." I says, "I'll make you a dress." So ever since then, she's been dancing every year.
If we have a beadwork order, we could sew on those and have them ready by summertime. I'm making a jibik, or sometimes they call it a lucky charm, and it's an expression of our culture. When my children were little, it helped buy food. Now my children are doing beadwork.
Shoot.
This is a loom I'm working on. We make bracelets, headbands. It's a different kind of beading as you have to count every bead. We can make pretty good once we get going. You've got to get in the mood. I feel pretty good when I'm creating these pieces, and I'd rather give them away than sell them. I see people today who are still wearing the things I made.
I'm working on some magazines right now. I taught a bunch of little girls to make beadwork. It's like a hobby to me.
How many snares we got left?
3. Put one down there and one here.
Here's a trail there.
Well, I've been snaring a long time, but over 40-some years. Well, I'm winding this up here to make that snare here. I'll catch a rabbit with that. Yeah, just a regular number 2 picture wire. Supposed to be for hanging pictures, but we use it for hanging rabbits too. Yeah, that's all there's to it there. When you get out in the woods, you just get a stick and put that on there and put it in on your runaway there. So that rabbit runs in there, then see you just get caught around the neck, then he'll swing around in there and choke himself. Me, I'd put out just about 5 snares just by myself, you know. Depends on how big your family is.
3 nights? What is that? 3 nights and nothing, huh?
Well, you check them every day. Otherwise, the owls get after them. A lot of owls here.
Got one there. What are you going to do? You going to set that snare? You don't care? Well, check them other ones there.
If I get too many, I give them to my nieces and stuff. I only need 1 rabbit for myself.
Now it's neebing, spring again. It is time for maple sugar harvest.
Early spring is always a really kind of exciting time for me, knowing that the sap is running. It's a happy time of the year because not only is the winter breaking, you're also starting kind of like a new year in a way, and you're harvesting the natural sugar out of a tree or syrup. You have to make your rounds every 4 hours or so, 5 hours, checking on the sap, transferring it from little buckets to a big bucket. Right away we go off and get the maple saplings in order to build a wigwam, where we usually put a stove and usually wrap it with tar paper, since it's a lot simpler and easier to get that time of year. Or we can just take turns either sleeping in it, or we all go have lunch inside it. The wigwams, they used to be made out of birch bark at one time, and just now it's more convenient to use the tar paper because it acts just as well. It's got its own purpose, just like birch bark did back then. And we have to adapt to new ways, even if you get the same job done.
Tobacco down. So.
Yeah, you're supposed to put tobacco down. Whatever tree you use or wood, that's the way it was.
Of course, the syrup is the same thing. It comes from Mother Earth.
You don't, see, the Indian, that's all he ever had. That's all he ever thought of. Just asking the Great Spirit to bless everything he had. That way. That's what I do. I still do that today. Whatever I do, I go and powwow or something like that.
Yeah, whenever you cut a tree down or anything, you're supposed to put tobacco down.
Yeah, it's Sama. You.
Well, I like to see the young kids, the young people come out to the maple sugar site and to work with them and to show them through all the processes that are involved in gathering the sap. The children usually stay for a day or so, and they're not thoroughly taught about that in school. Little children actually after a while get to feeling themselves that it's something that was of their past, and it's something nice to do. It makes you happy. Go ahead. And to be with nature and take something from nature that's a gift to them. Okay, Andy, pour it in there.
And after a while, you can let them go, and they'll do what they can with their little hands. That's a good feeling to see them learn.
That's good. And we build a fire up hot enough where the sap starts boiling, see? It's not boiling yet because we just put some in. But once it starts boiling, you're going to see it, foaming up, and it'll eventually go down to a maple syrup. But you have to watch out while you're boiling this, because sometimes you don't want to get overboiled. It'll go right over the pot. So that's why we have these branches up here to take out the bad boil. It'll try to boil over, and all you have to do is take this branch of hemlock, dip it in there one time, not too many times. That'll keep it from boiling over. Okay? Comes out of the trees, what God gave you. We're here for us to harvest. Indian people cherish their maple syrup just like any special thing. And you just keep building your fire until you boil it down to where you want it. After you get it down to maple syrup, you bring it out and put it in jars. But before you put it in the jars, you have to strain it, because you always get little pieces of maple, or little pieces of this hemlock in there, so you always have to strain it.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
The syrup is really good to eat.
Oh, yeah. We used to make taffy, and then we started with sugar and made cakes. Even little copper kettles, they'd use that for cakes, whatever they had. You have to keep stirring it before you got the sugar. Nothing better than the old traditional life.
I think that the rest of the population should know about survival in the woods, because someday you'll never know when there's going to be a big Holocaust, or on the next war. Maybe we'll be all doing it together someday.
Well, buddy, the winter's past, and it's spring again, and now we have to help out with the spring spearing. It sure feels good being on the river. If people could just understand how good it feels and how much you can learn from this, they probably wouldn't be so reckless to pollute our Mother Earth, our air, our water. I really wonder if my children and grandchildren will be able to practice some of the old ways and if they will see this nature.
It is so important for people to learn how to live in balance with Mother Earth. Our survival depends on this cycle. What goes around comes around, as we say. We must walk in balance on this Mother Earth for our ways to endure.
The preceding program was made possible in part by grants from the Wisconsin Humanities Committee with funds provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Central Educational Network with assistance from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and by the Otto Bremer Foundation.